Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to size a ventilated cap to fit a 21 circumference canvas head for making a wig. And you're going to need a needle for sewing, a China marker to make our markings on our cap, some scissors, and a soft tape, measuring tape. And also some pins to pin the cap down. And this is the ventilated cap that we're going to be using today. And this is a cap that I use for all of my wigs when I'm making wigs. And you also want to make sure that you sew on the opposite side of the plastic so the plastic is easier to remove. Alright, and we're just going to start pinning the cap down so we can pretty much see what parts of the extra cap that we're needing to sew down to resize the cap. And as you can see, the measurements are already on the canvas head, and I do have a previous video to show how I got those. And you can actually watch that after this one. And I'm just seeing where there's extra spacing, and I'm just putting pins in wherever I need. There's no specific area. And then I'm going to find all of the extra spacing on the cap to make the cap fit snug on the canvas head using the previous measurements that I put on the canvas head. And you'll see me going back and forth, just sizing the cap just to see exactly where I'm going to sew to keep the cap from being bulky. And we're pretty much just going to start at the top. And I'm just holding the cap as I go to make sure that I'm pulling all of the material that's needing to be sewn down. And once I have everything sewn, I just wrap the thread around the needle, cut it, and then I go back and tie it for extra security. Alright, now that we have that part sewn down, we're going to just go over and see where we need to sew down next, which would be on the side here. And I'm just going to sew down that extra cap. And I apologize if you can't see that well. I've tried to record this at a really good angle that you guys can see, and also where I can still sew. Alright, and I just do the same thing as I did before. And just tie the thread for extra security, and then I just cut off the excess. And next we're going to do the other side because there was some extra material that needed to be sewn down to help the cap fit a little more snug on the 21 circumference. So we're just going to do that here. Okay, and we're just going to tie our string for extra security and then cut off the excess. Right, next we're going to put down our closure, and at this point before we draw the lines I always like to put down my closure or my frontal, whichever I'm using for the certain wig that I'm making. And I do this so I can know where to stop my lines once I get to the top of the cap. So what you see me doing here is just placing the closure down, and I'm gonna draw a line around the closure, and it doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, mine is pretty bulky, but I'm just using that for placement so I'll be able to draw my line, and I'll kind of know where to stop my lines once I start drawing around the cap, and you'll see it here. And I'm just taking my China marker. I bought this off Amazon. It came in I think a 5-pack, and it's really good and it's washable. And as you can see, I drew all the way around the closure, so I can pretty much I drew a heavy line so I can pretty much see where to stop my lines. And I'm going to take my soft tape measure and just pin that down, and it's just going to help me draw my lines. And some people draw their lines an inch apart, and for this video I'm going to draw my lines a 1/2 inch apart. And you want to make your lines as straight as possible. I know it was hard to see with making this video, but you definitely want to make your lines as straight as possible going around the sides of the head. You don't want to slant down or anything. It's just pretty much straight across from the tape. And then once I get to the top, I just make lines going straight across, which are usually like my last 3 lines. So you all can see what I mean. And I just take those straight across up to the closure. Alright, and we have all of our measurements done. And when I take the tape measure off, I just go back and draw the lines that the tape measure covered. And we're all done. And now that your lines are drawn and you know where your closure goes, you can get started.